one thing that's been really impressive with Oregon leading off with Vilma Nielsen is that their collegiate record performance that they ran, their Big Ten championship winning relay have been some different combinations. So Oregon has done a great job of varying a few of the legs and the situations with which they have put people in, so that when they come into this championship, you have very capable and confident athletes on each and every leg with whatever scenario unfolds. It's really difficult to kind of know what to expect into this DMR, because so often the four that you decide are going to be determined based on maybe who did or didn't qualify in some of their individual events earlier on.
So Nielsen for Oregon, she won her heat of the mile earlier. For Utah, that was Brianna Wren. For Providence, that is Shannon Flockhart. Early on, 1,200 meter leg, 6 laps of the track. .67 seconds for the first 400, and they're still reasonably well bunched together.
Seeing Dudek of Stanford try to get around some traffic, navigating, bumping Georgetown a little bit in the process. This is really tough. You want to try to get some separation and position the remainder of your team. Now you see some contact between North Carolina and Georgetown as well. So in the 1,200 leg, you're trying to set up everyone else with this position, right? Trying to get yourself at least in contention, and if you can, get a little bit of separation so that that next leg of the relay has the opportunity to set you up for success.
Well, you also are trying to hope that you can avoid a huge crash when they pass the baton for the first time, with too many teams coming in at the same time and jockeying for position. They played a little loosey-goosey with who gets to be on the rail and who gets to be spread out further. There's a lot of crossing over as Nielsen is just resisting anybody taking the lead from her. Just a sub 71 second 400. 70.5. Nielsen continuing to lead.
Flockhart has smartly positioned herself. Wow, what a response by Nielsen. I thought Flockhart was going to try to make that move before the turn. Nielsen was not willing to give that up, but Flockhart did a great job of putting herself right there in that position. Very experienced championship runner with Shannon Flockhart, who's also one of the nation's better 3,000 meter runners. So really dropping down in distance for a 1,200 meter leg, as this is now a 2-team race before they hand off the baton.
And Nielsen just philosophically does not want to give up the lead, and she doesn't. She ran an aggressive, gutty race in her mile prelim as well. So Oregon followed by Providence. So there's been some separation now, makes this pass a little bit less dangerous. This is the 400 meter leg. For Oregon, it's slated to be Ella Clayton. For Providence, Jillian Fennerty. And for BYU, Sammy Oblad, who was DQ'd in her 400 meter prelim. So she's got a little redemption in her mind, try to run a good leg for her team.
It is tough to get that much separation over 200 meters. I mean, very little space when they hand it off. What a run Clayton is having on this second leg. The Ducks looking to soar, handing off in the lead with this 800 meter leg upcoming.
Coming around the final bend, Oregon's got a nice lead, easy baton pass.
Great running by BYU.
BYU gets into second, Providence third, then Utah. And then a lot of people behind that. Runners have got to get off the track. 52 seconds for Ella Clayton of Oregon. Now the 800 meter leg.
And for the 800 meter leg, one of the biggest things is not trying to do too much too quickly. Use a little bit of time, because that mile leg, there's a lot of time there. So just use each lap to gain a little bit more ground. This has been such a special season for BYU. as they sit in second place, and Diljeet Taylor says they've just overcome so many challenges. Each and every one of her athletes have battled back through adversities, and that has led them to do what they did in the cross-country season and carry all that momentum here into the indoor season. Been a really special group that they have. But who can hang with Oregon? Ella Nelson is doing an outstanding job of trying to gain a little bit more ground with a 58-second first 400 meters, just looking to gain a little bit more and more separation. Dwight, look at this, what she's been able to do with still a half lap to go.
For BYU, it's Tessa Buswell,
or rather
the
a lap
freshman,
and a half, I should say,
for BYU, but the separation is at least 30 meters at this point. Let me remind you that the collegiate record is 10:42.05 by Oregon, and that was just a week ago. Excuse me, a month ago. There's Michaela Rose trying to get her Tigers into some kind of contention, score some points. They are currently 5th, but it's all Oregon so far.
Here comes Providence making a huge move down the backstretch into second position. Utah looking for a response as well.
That's Maeve O'Neill for Providence. Now the handoff for the 1,600-meter leg.
And that is Shalon Isle-Diz, back from the mile, had about 90 minutes in between after qualifying to step onto the track. Was able, there were a few dramatics there in qualifying for the mile, but overall pretty relaxed effort for the majority of that mile in qualifying. Dwight, you mentioned what the collegiate record is. Well, who was running the anchor leg on the collegiate record for Oregon? It was Shalon Isle-Diz. Meanwhile, for BYU, it's Riley Chamberlain, who sacrificed maybe some individual goals and not doing the mile, opting instead to try to help her team in the DMR and then come back and run the 3,000 meter tomorrow.
The real disappointment here is Stanford, who had run 10:38.93 on an oversized track. They are way, way back.
Different combination, though, different people, of course, who are assembled in that situation. But as we're getting a look right here, great look by our production team at the field in talking to Coach Taylor about Riley Chamberlain in the year that she has had. Second fastest over 3,000 meters this season to her teammate Lexi Holiday-Lowry, as Isle-Diz leads that through in 66 seconds. Coach Taylor said, Riley chose us. We gave her the option. She's in tremendous shape right now, has a fantastic kick. And Shalon Isle-Diz, this is one of the reasons she decided to go to Oregon, was to have the opportunity to run with teammates, do something as a team, be really pushed by the program that she has surrounding her. She's running really posed, really composed at this point, as she had that commanding lead, but they are starting to gain just a little bit of ground and reel her in. Riley Chamberlain has done an excellent job of very methodically trying to gain some ground. Also, watch out for the SEC champs of LSU. Michaela Rose did a phenomenal job to put Lorena Rangel-Batrez in this position as they currently sit in 4th. Michaela Rose coming back less than an hour after qualifying in the 800. A spectacular effort from her.
When Rose got the baton, they were in about 8th or 9th place. She brought them up to 5th, and Rangel-Batrez now in 4th off the back of this peloton of 3. BYU, Providence, LSU slowly closing that gap on Oregon.
Look at though. What Isle-Diz is doing is she's able to glance up. There's a huge video board right there before you hit the turn that she's able to see, and she can kind of gauge where they are. She does have fantastic speed, so if she's just conserving some energy, once they get to her, if they do get to her, she will be able to respond. It looks like Riley Chamberlain is going to make a big charge to go after her on the back stretch. This is the point where you have to do it with under 3 laps to go. 4-team race with Oregon, Providence,
BYU and LSU. Now it's a real race. 2.5 laps remaining. Did Isle-Diz go out too quickly? She already ran her mile qualifier earlier, where she qualified through to tomorrow's final. For BYU, Riley Chamberlain right there on her shoulder. 2 laps to go. 4 teams in it.
Do not rule out Providence. Kimberly May is incredibly fit in this indoor season, and she has certainly the speed to kick with just about anyone. Here goes Riley Chamberlain.
Chamberlain makes the move. Kimberly May unable to cover it, and now Ildiz becomes the hunter, not the hunted, as she has been for several laps. Coming around to the bell. BYU, Oregon, Providence, LSU. Did Ildiz leave something in the tank?
Diljeet Taylor says Riley Chamberlain has one of the best kicks in America. We're about to find out if that's true, and right now she looks phenomenal. Does Kimberly May have another gear?
Unless she drops a baton, there's no way you can stop BYU. They're going to win the DMR. Here comes Providence to try and break through on Oregon. They were unable to do so. 10:45.34. That's a meet record. And a very smartly run race by the Cougars of BYU.
BYU goes back-to-back for the first time since Oregon did it in 2018 and 2019.
A really well-managed final leg for BYU by Riley Chamberlain. When she got the baton, they were in second, but they were easily 25 or 30 meters back. Of no slouch of a miler.
4:25 is what she ran. There is Coach Diljeet Taylor, who said, exhilarating as this group is to coach, it's even more so in competition. She's like, I bring a lot of passion. It's been tough to contain my passion watching what these women have done on the track, and Riley Chamberlain showcases exactly why. This is one of the most exciting teams to watch in track and field. Look at the poise of Riley Chamberlain with the decisive kick, and didn't even look like she was forcing it when she found that other gear, that necessary gear to take the lead. Cruises open arms with the baton to victory as BYU goes back to back. BYU run for her, they did.
Ildiz, when she got the baton, I thought it wasn't all over, including a collegiate record, and that's why they run the race, to make certain BYU wins it with a meet record and the championship for the second time in a row. Oregon hangs on for second. Providence finishes third. Let's go down to the infield to John Anderson, who is with the winning team.
Coach is louder than the airplanes. We're good? Like right this second. Like I should just start talking. Like they've thrown to me, because I can't hear anything. Now the red light's on. We'll start there. Well, we should all, right, I have to run them on. We'll start at the beginning. So we always say 1200, we got to position us, but then you also have to suffer the longest watching. What is that like to sit through the rest of those laps?
I was really grateful for this opportunity to have a chance to represent this team. I wanted to make sure I did my job so each of these other women could do their job. I tried to do the best that I could to keep us in that range of top 1 to 3, and I feel like I did that really well. It's super hard watching, but I have so much faith in these ladies, and especially winning last year, it's so cool to come back and be a part of that this time.
Short but important. You have to come back from your open 400 running this one, right? Yeah. How do we feel for those 2 laps?
It felt great. I feel bad I couldn't give the ladies another lap, but I wouldn't have had it in me. So I'm happy they're willing to run farther than I am.
All right, then we flip over here. Are you guys doing it? You guys talked it out already? All right, 800, very critical. You got a lot of sharks in there trying to chase you down. Michaela Rose is making up. You're thinking what so that you can get it to Riley?
I'm just thinking to try and catch Oregon, who's in front of me, and just kind of, if I got past, and stay with the people that passed me, and just try and get it to Riley in the best position.
Okay, so it gets to you, but you've got work to do. So how do you plot this out, knowing that if I get it all in the first lap, things are going to be really hard?
I kind of knew, like, when I hopped behind Kimberly, she was moving pretty quick. I was like, okay, I'll let her drag me through for a little bit, and then, like, see how the space closes or gets bigger or whatever, and then gauge, like, what I thought I could do. So.
2 in a row, how important is that?
Oh my gosh, it's incredible. I knew it was going to be really hard to do. I knew it was possible, but we had a good lineup. I was confident in the girls that were with me, and I'm just grateful to be here, happy and healthy.
Congratulations to BYU. I was a little worried with all the air traffic over the arena we wouldn't be able to hear Diljit. Not a problem. Heard them the old time. BYU Cougars, DMR champs again.